Chapter 280. Star Fate Art Gallery had many training rooms. The rooms were separated by translucent tempered glass. Walking along the long corridor, one could see that all the training rooms were filled with people practicing dance or body movements. One could even faintly hear the accompaniment of music. It was almost Chinese New Year. Many people were about to leave Beijing and return to their hometown. However, the trainees were not among them. They had to seize the time to train and strive for a chance to debut. They could not afford to slack off. The competition in the entertainment industry was always fierce. In today's era, the replacement of new talents was very fast. If one did not make a name for himself after 2 or 3 years, he or she would basically face elimination. Among the hundreds of trainees in Star Fate Art Gallery today, only a few would become famous in the future. Ordinary people saw the glamorous celebrities, but they did not know how many competitors they were stepping on. Fate was always unfair. Although they were all trainees, some had a higher starting point than others. For example, the newly formed Little Tiger Group not long ago. Zhang Juanji and his 2 friends not only had their own luxurious training rooms, but they also had 2 dance teachers. When Lu Chen and Sister Li came in, the 3 teenagers had just finished a dance. Their foreheads were covered in sweat and they were panting, looking very tired. However, one of the dance teachers was very dissatisfied. He scolded them in an unusually strict tone, pointing out the problems and shortcomings of their movements. He even used a bamboo ruler to whip the arms and legs of the 3, including Zhang Juanji. From the stiff Mandarin of this dance teacher, it was obvious that he was a foreign teacher hired by Star Fate Art Gallery. Star Fate Art Gallery hired more than 10 foreign teachers. It was said that they were all professional teachers from Japan and Korea with rich training experience. This person was undoubtedly one of them. Lu Chen and Sister Li did not rashly go in and disturb him. Sister Li must be very worried about her son. However, she did not interfere at this time. She stood at the door motionlessly, not saying a word even though her eyes were red. This was because Sister Li deeply understood the principle that only those who experienced hardship could rise to the top. Although she had the ability to shield Zhang Juanji from wind and rain, since Zhang Juanji had stepped into this circle, he still had to walk his own path. Just like a young eagle leaving its nest, how could it spread its wings and soar above the blue sky without the baptism of wind and rain? So what if he was scolded and beaten? Which trainee didn't go through this? Being serious was spoiling, but it was the greatest harm. After being reprimanded by the teacher, the 3 youths regained their spirits. Dragging their exhausted bodies, they redid the dance with the accompaniment music. This time, the 2 teachers were finally satisfied. After a few words of encouragement, they allowed them to rest for a few minutes. The 3 youths slumped to the ground. Only then did Sister Li push open the door and enter. She greeted the 2 teachers first. "Hello, Teacher Jean." "Hello, Teacher Min." Sister Li had been in the entertainment industry for many years. She had built her career from scratch. Her status in the industry was far above that of the 2 dance teachers. Even so, they were still polite and courteous to her. Of course, the 2 teachers were not arrogant people. They hurriedly bowed in return. "Hello, Ms. Li." Sister Li smiled and said, "Let me introduce you. This is Teacher Lu Chen." She introduced them to each other. "Lu Chen, this is Teacher Kim Ongwa from Korea's Kin Management Company." The other teacher, Teacher Min, was from Hong Kong. Kim Ongwa was in his 40s. He was tall and thin, and his expression was cold. His eyes were long and narrow, giving people a very strict feeling. However, when Sister Li introduced Lu Chen, he was shocked. He stepped forward and bowed to Lu Chen. He stretched out his hands and said, "Mr. Lu Chen, I've heard a lot about you." Although his accent was a little awkward, the words, "I've heard a lot about you," were spoken clearly and with a good accent. Lu Chen shook hands with him with both hands and said with a smile, "Mr. Kim, you're too polite." He thought that Kim Ongwa was just being polite and thought that Kim Ongwa knew how to socialize. However, he didn't expect Kim Ongwa to say very seriously, "You're welcome. I've heard all of your works, Mr. Lu Chen." I've also watched the TV series you starred in, Romance in My Heart. You're a very talented singer, composer, and actor. After a pause, Kim Ongwa continued, if you were in South Korea, you would definitely become a great artist, just like Han Haomin and Kim Song-hyun. Han Haomin and Kim Song-hyun were both famous artists in South Korea. They were regarded as national idols and had a high influence throughout Asia. They were also stars in film, television, and music. Kim Ongwa compared Lu Chen to Han Haomin and Kim Song-hyun, which was undoubtedly a very high praise. Lu Chen was a little surprised and said modestly, Mr. Kim, you flatter me. Kim Ongwa said, Mr. Lu Chen, you're here to see the training of the little tigers, right? I'll ask them to perform the song you wrote for you now. He turned to the three teenagers and said in a deep voice, please show your best. Although Zhang Juanji and the other two were exhausted, they all stood up obediently when they saw Lu Chen and Sister Li. They didn't dare to interrupt. Hearing Kim Ongwa's order, the three of them gritted their teeth and stepped back to put some distance between them. They quickly got into formation. Lu Chen wanted to ask them to take a break first, but he swallowed his words. It wouldn't hurt to let a young man like Zhang Juanji suffer a little more. Teacher Min ran to the sound equipment and played the accompaniment that the little tigers needed. A smooth and light melody instantly sounded in the training room. It was Butterfly Flight. This song was written by Lu Chen specifically for the Little Tigers, and it would also be the title song of the Little Tigers' first album. The style of the Little Tiger group was based on this song, Butterflies Fly. Therefore, after Lu Chen gave the music score to Sister Li invited a famous composer in Beijing to arrange the music, and then sent it to Star Fate Art Museum to choreograph the dance. Zhang Juanji and the other two had practiced it many times. They walked to the music. Although the movements weren't difficult, they were full of the youthful energy of teenagers. As they danced, the three of them sang at the same time. They looked very good. What made Lu Chen happy was that the performance of the three teenagers gradually overlapped with the original version of the Little Tigers in his memory from the dream world. At this time, no one noticed that many trainees had appeared at the entrance of the training room. Both men and women peered inside, most of them with envy or curiosity. Chapter 281. After the performance of Butterfly Flight, the three teenagers were so tired that they were about to collapse. However, they still stood straight. Even though their bodies were shaking uncontrollably, they tried very hard to straighten their backs, as if they were soldiers waiting to be inspected. Their eyes were all focused on Lu Chen's face. Without hard and strict training, it was undoubtedly impossible to achieve this. Jean Ongwa and the other teacher, Min, also looked at Lu Chen, waiting for his evaluation. Under everyone's gaze, Lu Chen nodded and said, very good. It was not easy to train to this level in just 2 months. The choreography of Butterfly Flight was quite good. It fully considered the characteristics of the Little Tiger Troupe's age. The choreography was not exaggerated, and the rhythm and sense of movement were very strong. The three teenagers sang and danced at the same time. Even in such a tired situation, they could still move orderly, cooperate well, and sing without going out of tune. It was really commendable. Therefore, Lu Chen's very good was not fake politeness, but praise from the bottom of his heart. Jean Ongwa's slender face revealed a smile. Seeing that the three teenagers did not react, he could not help but frown and scold them. What are you standing there for? Zhang Juanji and the others came to their senses and bowed to Lu Chen together. Thank you, Teacher Lu. Lu Chen smiled and said, you're welcome. I know Zhang Juanji. The other two, please introduce yourselves. The two teenagers looked at each other, and the one standing on Zhang Juanji's left introduced himself first. Hello, Teacher Lu. I'm Little Flying Tiger, Hui Ran. Please take care of me. After saying that, he bowed deeply to Lu Chen. His bow was obviously trained, and it was very standard. Hello, Teacher Lu. I'm Little Obedient Tiger, Yu Yang. Please take care of me. The two members of the Little Tiger Troupe were undoubtedly carefully selected. They were similar in height, size, and age to Zhang Juanji. Little Flying Tiger, Hui Ran, had a slightly masculine appearance, and the contours of his face were clear. Zhang Juanji's facial lines were more gentle, giving people the impression that he was very obedient. Little Handsome Tiger, Little Flying Tiger, and Little Obedient Tiger. Although the three-man Little Tiger group was a group, the members had to have their own personalities and characteristics. That way, they would be able to have their own fan circles. Even if they were to fight each other, it would be a good thing. The three teenagers were handsome in their own way, and the Little Tiger troupe was very pleasing to the eye. They believed that once they debuted, they would be able to attract a large number of young fans, especially female fans. In fact, Zhang Juanji was currently very popular on the internet because he had acted in Autumn. His Waves blog had reached more than 500,000 fans, which would undoubtedly pave the way for his official debut next year. Lu Chen nodded. The main reason he came to Star Fate Art Gallery this time was to check on the training of the Little Tiger troupe. According to Sister Lee, if the children met the requirements, it was not impossible for them to debut early. If they could not satisfy Lu Chen, it was reasonable for them to continue training for another year and a half. Of course, Lu Chen wasn't helping for free. Even though Sister Lee had a good relationship with Chen Fei, he still had shares in the company. The establishment of the Little Tiger troupe came from Lu Chen's suggestion, and Sister Lee intended to make it into an entertainment brand. Sending the members to Star Fate Art Gallery for training was one of the reasons. In addition, she registered the names Little Tiger Troupe, Little Handsome Tiger, Little Flying Tiger, Little Obedient Tiger, and so on. She also commissioned a professional design company to design a cartoon logo. According to Sister Lee's plan, the Little Tiger Troupe brand would be licensed to other areas such as clothing, sports equipment, stationery, toys, electronic products, etc. At that time, Sister Lee would set up an independent company to be responsible for the management and operation of the brand. As the saying goes, think of the source of drinking water. The company that Sister Lee is going to register has reserved a lot of shares for Lu Chen. He didn't need to pay a penny, and he didn't need to participate in the management. He just needed to sit back and wait for the money. After reading Sister Lee's plan some time ago, Lu Chen couldn't help but admire this big sister's business mind. Her success wasn't by luck. Of course, there was no free lunch in the world. Just an idea and creativity wasn't enough to get such rich shares. Lu Chen needed to be responsible for composing songs for the Little Tiger troupe and providing guidance. In fact, the road that Lu Chen was taking now was not only leading to the peak of an artist, but also to the godfather of music. For example, MSN, the Little Tiger troupe, and more in the future. Since the Little Tiger troupe was in good condition, Lu Chen didn't want to continue to disturb these teenagers who were training hard. After chatting with Jean Angua and the others for a while, he planned to leave. "What are you all doing here?" At this time, a tall woman in her 20s appeared at the door of the training room and scolded the surrounding boys and girls, "Go back to your rooms. You can't run around during rest time." A group of teenagers suddenly scattered like birds and beasts. After scolding them, she smiled and greeted Sister Lee. "Sister Lee, are you here to see Juanji?" Sister Lee said with a smile, "Yes, Jennifer, let me introduce you. This is teacher Lu Chen. Yin Juanxi." When the woman named Jennifer saw Lu Chen, her eyes suddenly lit up and she said with a smile, "It's really you." She was wearing a set of tight bodybuilding clothes. Her curvaceous figure was perfect, especially her pair of long legs, which were eye-catching. Her appearance was not extremely beautiful, but her high nose and deep eyes showed that she was obviously of foreign descent. She should be a mixed race. Sister Lee introduced the beautiful woman to Lu Chen. "This is Jennifer, the art director of Star Fate Art Museum. Her Chinese name is He Wanjun, and she comes from Australia." Lu Chen shook hands with her and said, "Hello, Director He." Jennifer stared at Lu Chen with hot eyes and said with a smile, "Just call me Jennifer. I like the movie you starred in, Autumn in My Heart. You acted so well. Can I take a picture with you?" Since becoming famous, Lu Chen had received a lot of autograph and photo requests. He didn't expect that this woman was also his fan. He smiled and said, "Of course, no problem. Jennifer immediately hugged Lu Chen's arm and put his arm between her plump breasts. She turned to Sister Lee and said with a very happy smile, "Sister Lee, please." Sister Lee giggled as she took a few photos of the two of them with her phone. After taking the photos, Jennifer reluctantly let go of Lu Chen's hand and said, "Sister Lee, are you going to leave now? Then let me see you out." She was very straightforward. To everyone's surprise, as soon as Lu Chen and the others left the training room and came to the corridor, a figure suddenly rushed over and blocked their way. Chapter 282. Lu Chen reacted quickly. He stopped and steadied himself in an instant, so he didn't bump into the person who suddenly appeared to block his way. The person realized how inappropriate her behavior was. She took a step back with a red face and bowed. "Mr. Lu Chen, I'm a loyal fan of yours and a trainee here. Can you give me some advice?" The person who blocked Lu Chen's way was a girl of 15 or 16 years old. She was short and pretty. She had short bangs, big eyes, and long eyelashes. She looked a bit like an oversized doll. Maybe it was because of excitement or shyness, the girl's face was red, and even her ears were red. When she bowed, she twisted her fingers together, revealing the anxiety in her heart. She didn't stand up after bending down, waiting for Lu Chen's answer. Everyone was shocked to see such a scene. Jennifer, who was next to Lu Chen, frowned and said unhappily, "Zhou Xiaojia, who told you to be so rude? Go back to the practice room immediately." The doors of several rooms on both sides of the corridor were open. Many trainees craned their necks to look around. When they saw Zhou Xiaojia being scolded by Jennifer, most of them had gloating looks on their faces. For most artists, their competition started when they were trainees. Zhou Xiaojia's eyes turned red after being scolded by Jennifer. She held back her tears and said with her head down, "I'm sorry, Director He, Mr. Lu Chen, I'm sorry." She was about to turn around and leave while apologizing. Lu Chen smiled and said, "It doesn't matter. Which agency are you from?" The girl was quite adorable, which reminded him of his precious sister at home. Lu Shui was only a few years older than Zhou Xiaojia. She was supposed to be at the age where she enjoyed the love of her parents, but because she had embarked on the path of an artist, she had to train hard here even during the new year. Zhou Xiaojia suddenly showed a look of surprise and quickly replied, "Mr. Lu Chen, I'm signed with Wancher Media." Wancher Media? Lu Chen didn't have any impression of it. It was definitely not a big company in the industry. The number of entertainment agencies and film companies in Beijing, as well as all kinds of studios, could be said to be as many as the hairs on a cow. The competition was too fierce, so many small and medium-sized companies were quite miserable, and even the artists they signed were suffering. Many artists signed by small companies did not have a chance to make a name for themselves. Even if they officially debuted, they could only take on a few shows. They could only sing and dance for others or play small roles, struggling at the bottom of the entertainment industry. There were countless of such Beijing drifters. Zhou Xiaojia's appearance was not bad, but without strong support, her chances of success were similar to winning the lottery. There was a 99% chance that she would quietly disappear in the tide of the entertainment industry. Perhaps the little girl realized this, so she mustered all her courage to block Lu Chen's path. Asking for guidance, asking for attention, asking for packages, the current Lu Chen really had the qualifications to be crowned with the title of teacher. He asked, "What kind of career do you take? Singing? Dance? Acting or variety shows?" Today's artists could take many more paths than their predecessors. If they couldn't do one, they could play another. If they couldn't do anything, they could sell their face. If they didn't even have a face, they could only sell their moral integrity. Zhou Xiaojia replied, "I want to be a singer like Mr. Chen Fei, Chen Fei, Lu Chen couldn't help laughing and said, "Then I'll give you a chance. Sing me a song." He turned to Jennifer and asked, "Director He, can I?" "Call me Jennifer." Jennifer smiled and said, "It's our honor that you can guide our students. I'll arrange it." She looked at Zhou Xiaojia, who was surprised, and said sincerely, "Zhou Xiaojia, you're very lucky. Star Fate Art Gallery was very famous in the circle. Many trainees were entrusted with training, and stars and idols often came to guide and encourage their new artists. There were even big shots who came. Lu Chen was not the first famous artist who had been stopped by trainees to ask for guidance, but they basically didn't succeed. The reason was actually very simple. Those big shots were used to being harassed. If they casually agreed to help, it would be really troublesome in the future. In addition, the object of guidance might be one's own competitor. Who would do such a stupid thing? Therefore, Jennifer said that Zhou Xiaojia was very lucky to meet Lu Chen. The trainees who were peeking at them were all stunned. No one thought that Zhou Xiaojia could really persuade Lu Chen to guide her. It was really enviable. Who was Lu Chen? He was an outstanding singer who had recently risen in the pop music world. Not only did he become famous, but he also made two groups famous with his works. Now he was building the Little Tiger Troupe. The background and connections of the Little Tiger Troupe were beyond their reach. They could only be envious, but not jealous. But what about Zhou Xiaojia? She was just an ordinary person among a group of trainees. She actually had the opportunity to get Lu Chen's favor, which really made everyone jealous. Some people began to wonder if they should also learn. There was a recording studio in Star Fate Art Gallery. Although the scale and equipment were not comparable to that of a professional recording studio, it was far better than the level of karaoke. It was completely enough for testing. In this recording studio, Zhou Xiaojia sang a song, Love is a Bubble Heart, to Lu Chen and others. The original singer of this song was Chen Fei. It was a sad love song that was rare for the queen of sweet songs, and it was popular for a time. Lu Chen didn't know why Zhou Xiaojia chose this song. Obviously, she couldn't sing the feelings and artistic conception of the song. Although there was no problem with the tone and atmosphere, it couldn't give the audience the unique charm of the original song. After singing, Zhou Xiaojia realized her problem and bowed to apologize. I'm sorry, Mr. Lu, I didn't. Lu Chen waved his hand and interrupted Zhou Xiaojia's apology, motioning for her to come out. Ask your agency to contact my studio after the new year. We'll talk then. He said to Zhou Xiaojia, you work hard. Zhou Xiaojia, who thought she had no chance, was stunned. Then crystal tears fell. She bowed to Lu Chen again and again. Thank you, Mr. Lu. Thank you. Lu Chen smiled. You can go now. After Zhou Xiaojia thanked him profusely and left, Jennifer looked at Lu Chen with a strange look. Lu Chen knew that she misunderstood, but he didn't explain. Lu Chen gave Zhou Xiaojia a chance because Zhou Xiaojia had some special conditions that moved him, nothing else. Jennifer must have misunderstood. When leaving Star Fate Art Gallery, Jennifer sent Lu Chen out and suddenly said to him seriously, Lu Chen, I know you are a good person. These words were a bit inexplicable, but Lu Chen understood. He couldn't help laughing. Chapter 283. After leaving the Star Fate Art Gallery, Sisterly personally sent Lu Chen to the parking lot. Lu Chen said, Sisterly, you don't have to see me off anymore. My car is parked in front. See you after the new year. Coming to the Star Fate Art Gallery to see the training of the little tigers was the last thing he would do in the capital. After that, he would drive back to Binhai with Lu Shi to spend the new year with his family. Sisterly smiled and said, Sorry to trouble you. Jun Jining is really lucky to have you as his teacher. She hesitated for a moment and said, Lu Chen, Jennifer grew up abroad. Her personality is a bit. How do I put it? I think she can be an ordinary friend. As for other things, don't blame Sisterly for being too talkative. Lu Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Sisterly, you think too much. I don't have any feelings for director He. He is now at a time when his career is booming. He is so busy that he doesn't even have time to fall in love with Chen Fei. How can he be in the mood to flirt with other women? Moreover, Lu Chen himself is not that kind of playboy. In the entertainment circle where beautiful women are as common as clouds, there are too many temptations of all kinds. Without the rich experience brought about by his life memories in the dream world, the young Lu Chen may be lost in it. But now, he was able to calmly look at the beauties that kept appearing around him, and he was able to guard his heart. As for Jennifer, she was warm and beautiful, but she was not the type that Lu Chen liked. The reason why sisterly reminded him was that she had a good relationship with Chen Feier, and she was the one who invited Lu Chen to the Star Fate Art Gallery. If Lu Chen was seduced by someone else, she would not be able to absolve herself from the blame. Now that she saw that Lu Chen was really not tempted, Sisterly was also relieved. She smiled and said, "Jennifer is a good person, but her background is a bit complicated." "Well, I wish you a pleasant journey." Lu Chen smiled. Whether Jennifer's background was simple or complicated, it had nothing to do with him. Star Fate Art Gallery might not even come back. After waving goodbye to Sisterly, Lu Chen drove to the studio. The studio was on holiday. Li Feiyu and Chen Xian had left the capital yesterday. Lu Shi was already waiting for him there. There were also big and small bags of luggage. Basically, they were all New Year gifts for family and friends. They were not very expensive, but they were meant to be festive and auspicious. With his luggage and sister, Lu Chen drove towards the coastal highway. The highway was more than 1,000 kilometers long and could go from the capital to Binhai. Lu Chen and Lu Shi flew all the way and returned to Binhai at 9 p.m. He returned to his home in Jingsheng district. "Brother." Lu Shui was watching TV in the living room. When she saw her brother and sister come in, she immediately jumped up from the sofa and screamed, "Mom, brother and sister are back." As soon as her voice fell, she jumped off the sofa and rushed to Lu Chen without even wearing slippers. She threw herself directly into Lu Chen's arms and almost pushed him down. Lu Chen hugged his sister and couldn't help shaking his head. She was a grown-up girl, but she was still like a child. But his heart was still full of happiness and the joy of going home. Lu Shi put down the bags in her hands and glared at him. "You'll be 18 after the new year. You're still so careless. Get off me quickly. Don't be like this." Compared with Lu Chen's doting, Lu Shi was stricter to her sister. Lu Shui curled her lips and obediently got off Lu Chen and took the paper bag in his hand. "Brother, what gift did you buy for me?" "Brother, do you know that you're a big celebrity in our school now? Many people ask me for autographs." "Huh, I can make a fortune selling autographs. Give me 500 autographs. I'll save them. Hee hee, I'll show you the love letters that others asked me to send to you later." Even girls from other schools came here. Lu Shui kept talking to Lu Chen, as if she wanted to say all the words that she had been holding back for a long time. The unfinished "Autumn in My Heart" had made Lu Chen a household name in Binhai. His reputation was different from the last time he came back. Even Lu Shui had become the focus of the school, Lu Chen's sister. She said that she was worried, but in fact, she was proud, like a child who got a big toy and wanted to show off. Lu Chen had a headache. Fortunately, his mother came down and saved his life. "Lu Shui, don't bother your brother," Fang Yun said with concern. "You must be very hungry, right? I'll go to the kitchen and cook some supper for you." Lu Shi said, "Mom, I'll help you." The mother and daughter went into the kitchen. They could still hear the voices coming from inside through the glass door. "I heard a car just now. Did you drive back?" "Yes. It's so tiring and unsafe to drive. Take the high-speed train next time. It's fast and safe. Do you understand? The main reason is that the time is not easy to arrange. We can't book tickets in advance. When we want to buy tickets, there are no tickets, and we have to bring things. In fact, we don't need to buy things. Whatever we have in the capital can be found here." Lu Chen sat on the sofa in the living room, enjoying Lu Shui's massage. Listening to the conversation coming from the kitchen, he felt happy and at peace. He felt that all the hard work was worth it for this moment. It was a pity that such a beautiful mood was broken by Lu Shui in the blink of an eye. "Brother, my classmates and I all watched the Autumn in My Heart with Chen Fei. They all said it was so beautiful. They wanted to ask what the final outcome was. Did Eunhee recover from her illness? Have you two been together? Even the teachers in the school were watching it. Teacher Zhang also asked you. If my sisters know that you are back, they will definitely. All right. Lu Chen was really defeated by her. He surrendered and said, I'll write you an autograph. 100. Lu Shui smiled and said, 100 is not enough. At least 300. By the way, brother, is it true that you and Chen Fei are in a relationship? Lu Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. What do you mean? Lu Shui was curious. Are you really in a relationship? They all said that the two of you are acting for real. Lu Chen sighed. Children shouldn't meddle in the affairs of adults. Don't talk nonsense. I'll sign 200 for you. Lu Shui was angry. I'm almost 18 years old. I'm already an adult. At least 300. The brother and sister were bickering. On the other side, Fang Yun and Lu Shi brought out the supper. It was a simple bowl of tomato and egg noodles. Lu Chen was really hungry. He finished a big bowl of noodles. It was very fragrant. He had eaten a lot of delicacies, but this taste of home was something that no hotel could make. The feeling of going home for the new year was really good. Chapter 284. February 7th, New Year's Eve. On the last day of the Year of the Goat, which was also the most important day for the people of China, a light snow inadvertently fell on Binhai, giving everyone an unexpected surprise. This was the first snow in Binhai since the beginning of winter. Although the snowflakes were very small, many children treated it like a treasure. They laughed and jumped outside, setting off fireworks in the falling snow. The crackling sound was everywhere in Jingsheng district, making people feel the arrival of the new year. In the dining room of the Lu family's villa, Fang Yun, Lu Chen, Lu Shi, and Lu Shui were sitting around the dining table and eating New Year's Eve dinner. Originally, Lu Chen wanted to order the New Year's Eve dinner in a hotel. Now that the family's situation was better than before, it would be no problem to eat in any 5-star hotel in Binhai. However, Fang Yun insisted on making it herself. She thought that the taste of the New Year's Eve dinner at home was the most authentic. The villa was brightly lit, and the living room with the heater on was as warm as spring. The family was happy and harmonious. Jingle. While he was eating, the crisp ringtone of his cell phone suddenly rang. Fang Yun glanced at it, and Lu Shui stuck out her tongue. She quickly took out her cell phone from her small bag and answered the call. Hello. After listening for a while, she looked a little strange. She handed the cell phone to Lu Chen. Brother, it's yours. Lu Chen was stunned. Mine? He took Lu Shui's cell phone and said in confusion, Hello? Big Star, I'm Huang Shan. A strong voice came from the phone. Happy New Year. Hello, class monitor. Lu Chen suddenly smiled and said, Why are you calling me at this time? Where are you? Huang Shan was his high school classmate and also the class monitor. When he was in school, Lu Chen had a good relationship with him. However, after he went to Hangzhou to study at the university, they gradually contacted each other less and less. Huang Shan said, I haven't been able to contact you, and there was no reply from QQ. I just asked someone for your sister's phone number. You should be in Binhai now. I'm having New Year's Eve dinner in the hotel. Lu Chen was embarrassed. Sorry, the original phone number is useless. He changed his number when he went to the capital the year before last, and only informed a few relatives and friends. Huang Shan didn't know. As for QQ Fein, Lu Chen even let the studio manage his blog, so he didn't have time to read it at all. Actually, he had turned down a few commercial performances this new year. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to return home. Several female students said that if they can't invite you, they won't come. Fein of the New Year, and family. Fein Fef Lunar. Huang of the Year. Several female students said that if they Don's Eve's year, they won. Fef Fein of Year. Lu Chen said with a smile, "What kind of big star am I? I'm just trying to make a living. Since you said so, I'm sorry if I don't come." "Which hall of Jinhao Hotel is it?" Lu Chen said with a smile, "I'm not a big star. I'm just trying to make a living. Since you said so, I'm sorry if I don't come." "Which hall of Jinhao Hotel is it?" It had been more than 4 years since he graduated from high school. Because of the changes in his family, he only attended a high school reunion in the second year of graduation. When Lu Chen was in high school, he was a popular person in the school and had many friends. Huang Shan was overjoyed. Rose Hall, 5:30 p.m. Our class teacher, Mr. Yi, will also come, and my girlfriend. I told her that I was your classmate, but she didn't believe me. Later, I showed her the photo, and she insisted on coming to see you in person. Lu Chen smiled. I don't have 3 heads and 6 arms. See you then. Huang Shan was excited. Okay, then I'll inform everyone. See you the day after tomorrow. Lu Chen hung up the phone and returned it to Lu Shui. Lu Shui asked curiously, "Brother, are you going to attend the high school reunion?" Lu Chen nodded. Lu Shui said seriously, "There must be a lot of female classmates who admire you, right? Remember not to get drunk, or you'll be eaten by others." Ouch! Her head was hit by Lu Shi with chopsticks. Her sister looked angry. What are you talking about? Lu Shui covered her head and felt wronged. Mom, my sister hit me again. It hurts. Fang Yun didn't take sides. You deserve to be hit. Kids should pay attention to what they say. Don't always learn from those things on TV and the internet. Lu Chen, don't spoil your sister. Lu Shui withered like a frosted eggplant. Lu Chen touched her head with a smile and said, "Hurry up and eat. We'll set off fireworks after dinner." They had bought fireworks a long time ago. After the reunion dinner, he took his sister to the small lake in the front yard of the villa. According to the tradition, they would first set off 3 16-shot cannons, indicating the prosperity of the new year. Then, they would set off colorful bombs, which represented happiness and auspiciousness. One after another, beautiful fireworks bloomed in the night sky, and the fireworks in the surroundings complemented each other. Together, they painted a magnificent scene of fireworks that never slept. The bright firelight illuminated the villa from time to time, and also illuminated the faces of the Lu family who were enjoying the fireworks. Fang Yun stood at the door, quietly wiping away the tears at the corner of her eyes. Those were tears of joy. Ever since the accident at home, she had never thought that such a happy scene would appear in front of her again. After setting off the fireworks, Lu Chen took the time to give a red envelope to Lu Shui and said secretly, "Brother gave it to you. Don't tell Mom. Keep the flowers for yourself, but don't spend them recklessly." Lu Shui held the thick red envelope and was so happy that her eyebrows and eyes were not her eyebrows. She hugged Lu Chen and kissed him on the cheek. "Thank you, brother. You're the best." Lu Chen smiled and returned to his room. After closing the door, he lay on the bed and called Chen Feier. After a while, Chen Feier's voice came through the phone. "Happy New Year." "Lu Chen, Happy New Year. Have you had your New Year's Eve dinner?" Chen Feier, "Yes, I just finished. I'm a little full, so I'm drinking tea to help digest the food. It feels good to be home. I haven't celebrated the New Year at home for several years. This time, I'm going to rest for a few days." A superstar like Chen Feier basically didn't have many holidays, especially during important festivals, which were the busiest times. She had appeared on CCTV's Spring Festival Gala last year. Although she didn't appear on the show this year, there were all kinds of invitations. Many of the invitations were difficult to refuse. Therefore, it was rare for Chen Feier to be able to return to her home for the new year. The call from Lu Chen gave her a chance to talk. Lu Chen didn't intend to listen to her. He quietly listened to her, and the warmth in his heart rippled. He couldn't help but completely relax, hoping that time would pass slowly. In the end, he didn't even know how he fell asleep. Outside the window, the fireworks were still there. Chapter 285. The Qing and River, which originated from the mountains in the western part of Zhejiang province, stretched for hundreds of kilometers all the way to the east, passing through Binhai City and dividing the fourth-tier county-level city in the southeast coast into two parts, the Old City in the north and the New District in the south. The Jinhao Hotel was located by the river in the New District in the south. This 37-story building was the first five-star hotel in Binhai City. After 2 renovations, it was still the representative of high-end consumer places in Binhai City. Lu Chen was no stranger to the Jinhao Hotel. He was even very familiar with it. When his father's business was at its peak, he had to entertain important guests at the Jinhao Hotel 5 or 6 times a month. He also rented long-term suites. Lu Chen often went there to eat and drink. Among the 3 sisters, Lu Chen was the only one who had such treatment. Because Lu Qingxing intended to train him to be the successor of the business, he let him come into contact with the business field early. Unfortunately, who could have thought that fate was so unpredictable? Once again coming to the Jinhao Hotel, looking at the magnificent building by the Qing and River, Lu Chen's heart was disappointed. After parking the car in the underground parking lot, he took the elevator to the 3rd floor and was led to the Rose Hall by the waiter. When he opened the door, a wave of hot air accompanied by a wave of sound suddenly hit him in the face. The Rose Hall was one of the best banquet halls in the Jinhao Hotel. There were 4 self-rotating tables in it, which could accommodate up to 60 guests at the same time. When Lu Chen came in, the 4 big tables were almost full. The big screen TV hanging on the east wall was playing a music video. A banner with the words, Binhai Second High School Grade 08 Class 1, 5, Class Reunion, was hanging on it, which was particularly eye-catching. So lively. Lu Chen was really surprised. There were a total of 58 students in his class, and all of them were here. But even if there was a class reunion during the spring festival, it was impossible to gather all of them. Because of the traffic jam, it was already past 6:00 when Lu Chen arrived. The banquet hadn't started yet. There were cold dishes and drinks on the table. Male and female students were chatting in full swing. The atmosphere was warm and noisy. When he walked into the Rose Hall, a few students noticed him, and they all revealed curious or puzzled expressions. Who is this? The current Lu Chen was almost 10 centimeters taller than when he was in high school. After more than half a year of persistent martial arts training, his physique was far more well-proportioned and sturdy than before. Coupled with the sunglasses he was wearing, his classmates really couldn't recognize him at first. Lu Chen took 2 steps, took off his sunglasses, and smiled at the classmate who was sizing him up. It was not that he was pretending to be cool, but it was not good to go out without sunglasses. It was easy to be recognized and watched. Lu Chen. At this time, a powerful roar sounded, immediately suppressing all the noise in the Rose Hall. The banquet hall instantly quietened down. Everyone's eyes fell on Lu Chen in unison. They were pleasantly surprised and astonished. A burly man jumped up and rushed in front of him. He grabbed his shoulder and laughed. "Big star, you're finally here. Everyone has been waiting for you." Lu Chen sweated. "I'm really sorry. There was a traffic jam on the way." This tall and burly man was the class monitor, Huang Shan. He had a carefree and straightforward personality, and he was very popular among his classmates. Therefore, even though he wasn't very good at studying, he was still elected as the class monitor and sports committee member. Huang Shan smiled and said, "Binhai is getting more and more congested now, especially at this time. There are the most cars." He exchanged greetings with Lu Chen. Many boys and girls surrounded him and said, "Lu Chen, long time no see." "Hello. Zhang Xiaoqiang. Lin Xiao. Wang Feng." Lu Chen greeted them one by one with a smile. After 4 years, it was the first time for most of his classmates here. The familiar faces made countless memories emerge in his heart. Some students didn't come over to take pictures of Lu Chen, who was like a moon surrounded by stars. There were also 4 or 5 waitresses in the Rose Hall. When they recognized Lu Qin, their eyes were all sparkling. If it weren't for their identities, they would have already surrounded him and asked for his autograph and photos. There were also waitresses who ran out of the door and used the walkie-talkie to inform the reception desk that Lu Qin, the big star, was here. It was not easy for Lu Qin to sit down in his seat. There was a nameplate on the table with his name written on it. He was sitting next to Huang Shan, but the girl in the yellow dress next to Huang Shan was very strange. It seemed that she didn't exist in his memory. He couldn't help but ask, "This is?" Huang Shan grinned and said, "Lu Qin, this is my girlfriend, Qin Jingjing." Lu Qin said, "Hello." Qin Jingjing was petite and delicate, so she didn't look good sitting next to the burly Huang Shan. She was delicate and pretty, so she asked with a red face, "Hello, Lu Qin. I like your songs very much, and I also like autumn in my life. Can I have your autograph?" Lu Qin nodded and said, "Of course, no problem. I'll sign it for you after dinner." Huang Shan quickly added, "And a photo." Lu Qin smiled and said, "No problem." Qin Jingjing was obviously very happy. She held Huang Shan's thick arm and said, "Thank you." Huang Shan sighed and said, "You're a big star. Today, 40 of our classmates and 20 family members came. They all came because they knew that you were coming." Lu Qin suddenly understood. No wonder there were so many people here, and some of them looked unfamiliar. They were all his family members. He looked around and asked in confusion, "Where's Ms. Yi?" Ms. Yi was the class teacher. Huang Shan had said that she would come, but he didn't see her now. Huang Shan explained, Ms. Yi was going to come, but her old stomach disease came back and she was hospitalized yesterday. Lu Qin looked serious. Her stomach disease must be very serious. "I'll go and see her tomorrow." As the two of them chatted, steaming hot dishes were quickly served. The atmosphere in the banquet hall became lively again. The students who hadn't seen each other for a long time were eating, drinking, talking and laughing. There were more than a dozen students at the same table as Lu Qin, and everyone's topic was basically their own situation. Some students returned to Bin Hai after graduating from college, or went to work in enterprises, or prepared to take the civil servant exam. Some opened their own shops and businesses, some stayed in the place where they graduated to seek development, and some continued to take the postgraduate exam. After graduating from high school, Huang Shan didn't go to college, but followed his father to do business. After 4 years, although he wasn't very successful, at least he was living a good life. He was very satisfied with his current life. According to him, no matter how much money he made, the most important thing was to be happy. He planned to get married and have children next year. "Lu Qin, if you have time, you must come to my wedding with Jingjing." Qin Jingjing's eyes were shining. Obviously, she was also looking forward to it. Lu Qin said with a smile, "I will come if I have time, but I'm too busy with work, so I really can't guarantee it." In the 6 months since last year, his main achievements were an album and a TV series. He didn't do many jobs and endorsements, so he wasn't very busy. But this year's situation was different. There were new albums, new TV series, and even movies, as well as Chen Fei's new album, MSN, Little Tigers, and so on. With the promotion of his status, all kinds of endorsements and invitations would inevitably come, and he would definitely be busier and busier. But the red envelope will definitely be delivered. Huang Shan laughed. "That's good. By the way, do you have a girlfriend now?" This question was actually a little sensitive. After all, Lu Qin was now different from ordinary people. Huang Shan was a little careless and couldn't hide things in his heart, so he asked directly, "Everyone says that you and Chen Fei are a couple?" All the students present pricked up their ears and looked very curious. Lu Qin coughed twice and explained, "The entertainment industry is very complicated. Some entertainment reporters like to write nonsense in order to grab the news, and some deliberately hype themselves up, so you can't take it seriously." He picked up some interesting anecdotes in the circle to tell everyone, cleverly avoiding Huang Shan's question. As a star artist, it would be stupid to talk about his feelings in public, unless he was hyped up. Even if it was a class reunion. And the students at the other tables saw that they were chatting happily here, and they all came over to toast. Lu Chen got up and said with a smile, "Thank you, everyone, but I can't drink when I drive here at night. Besides, as a singer, I have to protect my voice, so I'm really sorry. I'll use a drink instead." With so many people coming to toast him, a glass of wine from each person could make him drunk, and he really rarely drinks now. The students could understand, but they asked for a group photo alone. Last year, when Lu Chen rose rapidly in the pop music world and won the championship of Singing China, he became a celebrity in his hometown. Now, with the hit of Autumn in My Heart on Hygiene satellite TV, his face has been fiercely brushed, and he has become a household name in Binhai. Many of Lu Chen's classmates are proud of him, and often mention him when they chat with others. Are you watching Autumn in My Heart? The hero is my classmate. Have you heard of You Who Sat Next to Me? That's my classmate. I used to play basketball with him. Do you know Lu Chen? Binhai is a small coastal city in eastern Zhejiang. It has a developed economy, a large population, and a large number of private enterprises. The place is very rich, but there is no deep cultural and historical heritage, and there are few celebrities. A star like Lu Chen, who is popular all over the country, is really the only one in his hometown. Huang Shan shouted, "I can take a group photo. Everyone line up, and I'll charge 5 yuan per person. I'll collect the money." "Thank you." Lu Chen immediately became angry. 5 yuan? How can that be? At least 6 yuan, and 1 more yuan is a rebate for you. Everyone was amused by the jokes of the two, and the atmosphere at the banquet became more and more harmonious. Their classmates are teenagers, and they have graduated from high school for 4 years. For most people, they have not yet been contaminated with the philistinism of society, and still have the spirit and sincerity of young people. Chapter 286. Whether it was a toast or a group photo, Lu Chen didn't refuse anyone. They were all classmates he had known for many years, or their relatives and friends. Whether they were real fans or not, Lu Chen didn't need to keep a distance, because they basically didn't have much utilitarian heart. The situation might be different in a few years, but at least Lu Chen didn't need to think too much. Among the classmates, the male students were more reserved, and the female students were much bolder. Some took Lu Chen's arm, and some hugged his waist. They took photos left and right, and Lu Chen's face was almost stiff from smiling. When the group photo was almost over, a middle-aged woman in a hotel uniform came to the Rose Hall under the guidance of a waiter. She walked to Lu Chen and said with a smile, "Hello, Mr. Lu Chen. It's a great honor for you to visit our Jinhao Hotel. I'm the customer service manager of Jinhao Hotel." Lu Chen nodded, "Hello." The middle-aged woman said respectfully, "We have a presumptuous request. Can you please sign and take a photo to hang on the Wall of Fame? If you agree, all the expenses in the Rose Hall will be free of charge." Lu Chen suddenly smiled. Large or well-known consumer places often set up a Wall of Fame to enhance the atmosphere. The photos of visiting celebrities were made into photo frames and hung on the wall. Of course, the use of commercial portrait rights must be approved. There were 4 tables at the high school reunion tonight. According to the consumption level of Jinhao Hotel, it was about 20,000 or 30,000 yuan. It was not a very large amount, but it was not very small either. Of course, for the current Lu Chen, this amount of money was nothing. He wouldn't deliberately take advantage of this, not to mention that the expenses of the reunion were all in a Dutch system. But it was precisely because of the relationship between the reunion and the fact that he had been to the hotel many times before that Lu Chen thought about it and agreed, yes, but only the photos can be hung. It can't be used for other aspects of publicity. The middle-aged woman was immediately overjoyed. Of course, no problem. Thank you so much. Binhai's economy was developed, the place was rich, and the scale of the consumer market was very large. In recent years, many 5-star hotels had been opened. Jinhao Hotel was facing fierce competition and was trying to attract customers. Even if it was not a real advertising endorsement, it was still a pleasant surprise for the Jinhao Hotel to be able to get Lu Chen, a local star. Compared with the free bill, it was really a good deal. And Lu Chen's classmates witnessed this incident with their own eyes, and they really felt the power of a star. It was just an autograph and a photo, and tens of thousands of yuan was free of charge. Of course, the students were very happy. They were saving money. This was the effect that Lu Chen wanted. Everyone's happiness was the most important thing. Someone laughed and said, Lu Chen, you have to give me a few more autographs. It will definitely increase in value. Everyone laughed heartily. The classmate party didn't end until 9 o'clock, and there was a KTV singing program later, but Lu Chen didn't go. Although they were all familiar classmates, the distance between them could not be erased. Lu Chen's position was already at a height that everyone needed to look up to. With him present, it was difficult for everyone to really let go. Lu Chen understood that he also cherished the friendship of his classmates, so he chose to go home early. Before leaving, everyone stood together on the small stage in the Rose Hall and asked the waiter to take a group photo. In the end, a female classmate said reluctantly, Lu Chen, sing a song for everyone. Everyone jeered, yes, sing a song before you go. Even the waiters present showed a look of expectation. This was a real original singer. Lu Chen said with a smile, well, what song do you want to listen to? The female classmate bit her lip and said loudly, those flowers. Lu Chen first sang this song on the night of his college graduation, and later sang it in Singing China. It had a great influence among students and was known as the Divine Graduation Song. Lu Chen readily accepted, then sing this song. There were audiovisual equipment for performances in the Rose Hall, and Those Flowers was in the karaoke music library. Lu Chen didn't care that the simple music video made by pirated merchants was played on the projection screen. He held the microphone, listened to the familiar accompaniment, and sang the song again. That laughter reminds me of my flowers, quietly blooming for me in every corner of my life. I once thought I would stay by her side forever, but today we have left, in the vast sea of people. All the classmates stood in front of the small stage, quietly listening to him sing. Many female classmates snuggled up to each other, holding hands, and humming softly to the song. La. I miss her, La. Is she still there? La. Go. They had been blown away by the wind and scattered to the ends of the earth. While humming, tears welled up. The second day after the end of the class reunion, the third day of the first lunar month. In the morning, Lu Chen drove to the Municipal People's Hospital to visit the teacher in charge of his class in the ward. The teacher in charge of Lu Chen's high school is called Yi Xiaoyan. She is almost at the age of retirement. Although she is not a famous teacher, her decades of education career can be regarded as having students all over the world. When Lu Chen was in high school and Binhai No. 2 middle school, he was not a person who could let the teacher worry, but teacher Yi has always been patient and meticulous in his education. Without the careful teaching of this teacher, he would not have been able to be admitted to Jianghai University. Teacher's kindness cannot be forgotten. Knowing that teacher Yi was hospitalized due to illness, Lu Chen came to visit her. From Huangshan, Lu Chen already knew the ward number of teacher Yi, so he took the elevator directly and found the room smoothly. Teacher Yi lived in an ordinary ward, with 3 beds, all of which were occupied by patients. Lu Chen did not know the patients lying in the 2 beds near the door and in the middle. The innermost bed was surrounded by 5 or 6 people, both men and women, who were arguing fiercely about something. Although their voices were deliberately lowered, all of them looked emotional, which attracted the attention of the nurses present, with a vigilant and disgusted look. Through the gap of the crowd, Lu Chen saw teacher Ye's familiar face. She was obviously a lot older, her face was full of tired wrinkles, her hair was white, and her eyes were closed as if she was asleep. But the sadness on her face showed that her heart was not calm at this moment. Lu Chen did not immediately go over, but stood at the door and listened for a moment. From the mouths of those who surrounded the bed, he heard words such as expenses, care, share, judgment, and so on. Lu Chen could not help but think of some rumors about Teacher Ye's family that he had heard before, and his heart understood a little. An inexplicable anger surged in his heart. Chapter 287. Who are you looking for? The nurse, who had just finished changing the patient's medicine in the ward, saw Lu Chen standing at the door and asked curiously. This handsome guy was very stylish. He was tall and straight like a model, and the sunglasses on his face couldn't hide his handsomeness. The sight of him holding flowers made the little nurse's heart palpitate, and some scenes from idol dramas appeared in her mind. Lu Chen smiled at her and said, "I'm here to see Teacher Yi." His voice was neither soft nor loud, but everyone in the ward heard it clearly. The men and women who were fighting around the bed couldn't help but turn their heads and look. Finally, they stopped making noise. Even Teacher Yi Xiaoyan, who was lying on the bed, opened her eyes. Lu Chen took off his sunglasses and walked straight over. He was 180 meters tall and very handsome. Coupled with his strong aura, the two middle-aged men in front of him couldn't help but move away. The little nurse holding the medical records suddenly widened her eyes. The person in front of her was different from the one in her memory. Lu Chen walked to the front of the bed and put the flowers on the bedside table. He smiled and asked Teacher Yi, who looked surprised, "Teacher Yi, are you feeling better?" Yi Xiaoyan fumbled for her glasses under the pillow and put them on. She narrowed her eyes and looked at Lu Chen. After a while, she showed a surprised look. "Lu Chen, you are Lu Chen." After 4 or 5 years, Lu Chen's appearance had changed a lot, but she still quickly recognized him. "It's me," Lu Chen smiled and said, "Last night at the class reunion, it was Huang Shan who told me that you were sick. Today, I came to see you on behalf of all the students, and they will also come." Yi Xiaoyan struggled to sit up, and Lu Chen quickly supported her and helped her sit more comfortably with a pillow. Teacher Yi grabbed Lu Chen's hand and said with emotion, "It's really you. I almost couldn't recognize you. Now you are more handsome than before, and you have grown up and matured." Lu Chen nodded and gently held his teacher's rough and cold hand. He had grown up and matured, but Teacher Yi was even older and thinner. The years were too merciless. Recalling his teacher's care and concern for him in the past, Lu Chen's heart was extremely sour. He felt as if he had done something wrong, as he hadn't greeted his teacher for several years. The middle-aged men and women around the bed looked at each other. Ah! An uncontrollable scream suddenly rang out, instantly attracting everyone's attention. The young nurse was covering her mouth with a red face. When she saw everyone looking at her, she awkwardly pushed the door open and left the ward. As she ran, she didn't forget to look back at Lu Chen again. Yi Xiaoyan smiled and said, "I heard that you are a star now. I even saw your news on the internet. You are really promising. Teacher is very happy." Perhaps it was because she was in a good mood, her face regained some color and showed some spirit. "Have you settled everything at home?" Lu Chen couldn't help but feel warm when he heard this. He knew that Teacher Yi had been concerned about him since he graduated from high school. "It's all settled. All the debts at home have been paid off, and the house has been redeemed." Yi Xiaoyan was gratified. "That's good. You can make money now. You have to be more filial to your mother. It's really not easy for her." Lu Chen's nose turned sour and he said, "She is very well now. You also have to take good care of yourself. If there is anything, call us. We are all children raised by you. We are not ungrateful people." The middle-aged men and women around him looked embarrassed. They felt that Lu Chen's words were like a slap in their faces. Yi Xiaoyan had a total of 3 sons and 1 daughter. All of them were present today, including her 2 daughters-in-law. They were just arguing about the sharing of medical expenses and hiring a nanny to take care of her, which was the matter of money. In fact, a teacher like Yi Xiaoyan had medical insurance and a high salary. However, the medical expenses were very high now. If she got seriously ill, she would have to deduct the part that could be reimbursed. The burden on her was not light. Hiring a nurse was also not cheap. It was normal to pay thousands or tens of thousands of yuan. It was really difficult for ordinary people to bear. But then again, if the 4 children shared the cost together, it was not a big number. Yi Xiaolian would not let them pay all the money, but they still argued with each other. Lu Chen heard it clearly just now and he was extremely disgusted. His mother, Fang Yun, knew Yi Xiaolian. She had once told Lu Chen that the latter's children had no conscience. Yi Xiaolian had been engaged in education for decades and had never accepted gifts from students' parents. Her husband died very early, and it was not easy for her to raise 4 children alone. However, after these children got married and established a career, they had no filial piety. Now he saw that it was true. A middle-aged man couldn't keep his face. He glared and scolded, "Boy, what are you talking about?" Lu Chen's face darkened. He suddenly stood up and stared at the man with extremely sharp eyes. The middle-aged man's wife's complexion changed. She pulled her husband's sleeve and whispered a few words. She had heard of Lu Chen and knew Lu Chen's identity, so she was subconsciously timid. Cough, cough. Yi Xiaolian coughed twice and waved her hand, saying, "I'm talking to my students. All of you leave, leave." Her children looked at each other and hesitated to move. Lu Chen sat down again and apologized. "Teacher Yi, I'm sorry," Yi Xiaolian resolutely said, "all of you leave. You don't need to pay for the medical expenses, and I don't need a nanny." Then, "Mom, we'll see you later." Her children and daughters-in-law left in a hurry and disappeared in the blink of an eye. No one really wanted to stay and take care of them. Yi Xiaolian forced a smile at Lu Chen and said, "I've let you see a joke. I've taught so many students, but I didn't educate my children well. But they, also have their difficulties." Lu Chen shook his head and said, "It doesn't matter. You still have us. I'll ask the doctor to transfer you to the intensive care unit." He reached out to press the call bell. Yi Xiaolian stopped him, "Don't bother. I'm fine living here. It's an old problem. I know you want to help me, but I haven't reached this point yet. My medical insurance and salary are enough. If you have more money, go help more people who need help." She held Lu Chen's hand again and showed a faint smile on her face. "I know everything about you raising money to help the girl with leukemia. I'm really proud of you. What I'm most happy about is not that you have become a star or a celebrity, but that you have a kind heart. Don't forget your original intention, then you can go further on the road of life." Lu Chen nodded vigorously. After talking so much with Lu Chen, coupled with the ups and downs of her mood, Yi Xiaolian showed a little fatigue. Lu Chen quickly said, "Teacher, you should rest." Yi Xiaolian nodded and said, "Well, you should go back too. You don't have to accompany me here. Remember to go home when you have time." With that, she closed her eyes. Lu Chen silently helped the teacher remove the pillow, helped her lie down and covered her with the quilt, and watched her fall asleep. After making sure that Teacher Yi had fallen asleep, Lu Chen got up and left the ward. As soon as he walked out of the room, he felt many hot eyes focused on him. These eyes all came from the angels in white who worked at the nurse's station. They obviously already knew about Lu Chen. If it weren't for their work duties, they would have surrounded him. Lu Chen quickly put on his sunglasses again and walked to the information desk at the nurse's station. He asked the nurse sitting inside, "Hello, I want to change the patient in Ward 1870 to the intensive care unit. How do I go through the procedures? Is Teacher Yi Xiaolian in Ward 1870? The nurse blushed and whispered, "I'll help you check if there are any vacancies in the intensive care unit." Lu Chen smiled and said, "Yes, sorry to trouble you." The intensive care unit was a ward with special care. There was a single room and a nurse to monitor it 24 hours a day. Therefore, there was no need for family members to accompany them. It saved effort and money, medical insurance would not reimburse them. But for Lu Chen, there was no pressure to pay for it. He was lucky. Probably because it was the new year, the wards in the People's Hospital were not so tight. There were still empty intensive care units, but according to the regulations, the patient or his family could transfer to another ward. Fortunately, Lu Chen's star aura played a role. After the deputy director on duty at the People's Hospital got the news, he rushed over in person. After learning about Lu Chen's request, he gave special treatment without hesitation. Respecting teachers was a good thing to promote virtue, not to mention that Lu Chen was a famous person in Binhai. At the same time, Lu Chen learned that teacher Ye's illness was mainly serious gastric bleeding, which was a precursor to stomach cancer. Moreover, she had been overworked for many years and her liver and kidney functions were not good, so she needed a long time to recuperate and treat. He deposited a sum of money in his teacher's medical account and left his phone number at the hospital. In case the treatment fee was not enough, he could inform him in time. Of course, Lu Chen also left his signature and a group photo. When he left the hospital, it was almost noon. Driving out of the parking lot, Lu Chen was ready to go home for lunch. He did not expect that after a few steps, his cell phone rang. He answered the phone with the car's speaker. "Hello, Lu Chen," there was a familiar voice on the other side. "Where are you?" It was Chen Fei. Lu Chen smiled and said, "I'm in Binhai. I just went to the hospital to visit my teacher. Now I'm going home." Chen Fei asked, "Can you pick me up at the high-speed railway station first? I'll be there soon." "What?" Lu Chen was shocked. "You came to Binhai?" Chen Fei smiled and said, "Yes, it's my first time in Binhai. Do you welcome me?" Lu Chen was speechless. This was too much of a surprise. Chapter 288. Lu Chen didn't expect that Chen Fei would come to Binhai to meet him. This spring festival, the heavenly queen of the music industry turned down all invitations and went back to her hometown for the new year. For a big shot like her, unless she was determined to retire like Tan Hong, she wouldn't have much time to rest throughout the year. The new year was considered a long holiday for her, so time was extremely precious. Lu Chen couldn't help but feel excited. He hurriedly drove to the high-speed railway station to pick her up. When Lu Chen arrived at the station, Chen Fei's high-speed railway had just arrived. After waiting for a few minutes at the exit, he saw Chen Fei wearing a mask and sunglasses, as well as the latter's personal female bodyguard. The female bodyguard was called Xian. It was said that she was a special female guard who had retired from the military. She had been with Chen Fei for several years. She looked ordinary and quiet, but her performance was very professional. She was also Chen Fei's daily driver and part-time assistant. She was one of Chen Fei's most trusted people. Out of the gate, Chen Fei also saw Lu Chen standing in the crowd. She quickly walked over to him. Lu Chen opened his arms and hugged Chen Fei in his arms. Smelling the familiar fragrance, Lu Chen resisted the urge to take off his mask and kiss her. He whispered, "Why are you here? Why didn't you tell me earlier?" Chen Fei said in a muffled voice through the mask, "I missed you, so I wanted to give you a surprise." Lu Chen couldn't help but laugh. "Let's go." There were many people here. If they were recognized by others, it would undoubtedly be very troublesome. Lu Chen drove the two to the Jinhao Hotel first. They booked a room with the bodyguard's ID card, and checked into a large luxury business suite. After settling down, Xian hid in the attaché room, leaving space for the two of them. Chen Fei wore an ordinary down jacket today and didn't make up much, but she was still so beautiful without her glasses and mask. Lu Chen could no longer resist the inner impulse and held her for a long, deep kiss. Chen Fei responded enthusiastically and struggled a few times until she was almost out of breath. Lu Chen reluctantly let go of her and said, "You must be hungry. Let's go down and eat first." Chen Fei nodded softly and said with a smile, "You are the host, so you make the decision." Lu Chen smiled, put his arm around her waist and said, "Let's settle it here at noon. Come to my house tonight. My mother will be very happy to see you." Chen Fei's pretty face turned red. She hesitated for a moment and asked, "Is that not good? What's wrong with that?" Lu Chen said domineeringly, "Sooner or later, it's decided. I'll call her first." Chen Fei took the initiative to come to Binhai to find him. If he continued to hide it from his family, what kind of man would he be? After that, Lu Chen took out his mobile phone and called Fang Yun. He told his mother that first of all, he wouldn't go home for lunch at noon, and that a friend would come to visit in the evening. Lu Chen didn't say that it was his girlfriend, so Fang Yun naturally agreed. While Lu Chen was talking to Fang Yun, Chen Fei hid behind him and hugged his waist with a sweet look on her face. They hadn't known each other for a long time. She didn't expect that they would come to this step so quickly. But feelings were like this. Once they fell in love, they couldn't wait to let the whole world know. Because of their special identities, it was not appropriate to make their relationship public for the time being. However, Lu Chen took Chen Fei to see his parents, which was undoubtedly a serious and responsible attitude towards their relationship. She didn't waste her efforts. They had lunch in the hotel restaurant. Chen Fei was tired after taking the high-speed train for 4 hours to Binhai, so she didn't go out in the afternoon. She slept in her room and didn't get up until 3 o'clock. It was the first time that she met Lu Chen's parents. Of course, she wouldn't be careless. She spent more than an hour dressing up carefully. It wasn't until 5 o'clock that they arrived at the Lu family's house. "Mom. I'm back." After entering the door with big and small bags, Lu Chen shouted at the top of his voice. Fang Yun and Lu Shi were busy in the kitchen. Hearing the sound, she hurriedly poked her head out and said, "I see. Ask your friend to sit down and have tea first. The food will be ready soon." Chen Fei hurriedly greeted, "Hello, Auntie. Sorry to disturb you." Fang Yun was stunned. She didn't expect that Lu Chen would bring a girl home, and the girl looked very familiar. Ah! At this moment, Lu Shui, who was sitting on the sofa watching TV, screamed and jumped up. She stared at Chen Fei, her eyes wide open, and there was a piece of popcorn stuck to the corner of her mouth. Chen Fei, Chen Fei, smiled and said, "Hello, you must be Lu Shui, right?" Lu Shui's face was full of disbelief, as if she had found something incredible. The next moment, she directly rushed over and hugged Chen Fei, tightly, screaming, "Ah! I'm not dreaming, am I? It's really Chen Fei, it's really me." Lu Shui has always been a fan of Chen Fei, especially after watching Autumn in My Heart, she became a crazy fan. She even begged Lu Chen, hoping that Lu Chen could take her to see Chen Fei, Now that she actually saw Chen Fei, in her own home, the little girl felt like it was a dream. It was very unreal. Chen Fei, was a little surprised, but she had seen too many fans, so she quickly adapted to it. She smiled and patted the girl's shoulder. "It's me, you're not dreaming." At this time, Lu Shi ran out of the kitchen and was also surprised to see Chen Fei, She was the first to know about the relationship between Lu Chen and Chen Fei, and she also knew that the two of them didn't want to make their relationship public. Therefore, Chen Fei's sudden visit really shocked Lu Shi. Did the two of them think it through? Lu Shui. Fang Yun took off her apron and stuffed it into Lu Shi's hand. She walked out of the kitchen and scolded the little girl who was entangled like an octopus around Chen Fei's little girl. "Let go of the guest, what are you doing?" She turned to Chen Fei, and smiled, "Sit down, don't pay attention to this crazy girl." Chen Fei's pretty face blushed. "Thank you, Auntie." Fang Yun looked at Chen Fei, and she was very satisfied with her. Chen Fei's figure and appearance were impeccable. When she was with Lu Chen, they were definitely a match made in heaven. If there were any shortcomings, it would be that Chen Fei was a few years older than Lu Chen. But in Fang Yun's opinion, this was not a problem at all. Older women could love men more, and they were more understanding. Lu Shui finally let go of Chen Fei, but she still held her hand, looking distracted. "Sister Fei, can I call you sister-in-law in the future?" Chen Fei's face turned even redder. Chapter 289. On the third day of the Lunar New Year, the Lu family was particularly happy. Chen Fei Er's sudden visit added a lot of joy to the family, especially when Lu Shui was always by her idol's side. No matter how Fang Yun scolded her, she still clung to him shamelessly. The dinner was joyous and harmonious. Fang Yun kept putting food into Chen Fei's bowl and took good care of him. Lu Chen and the other two were almost jealous. Chen Fei was very embarrassed, but he couldn't refuse. He watched the dishes piling up in his bowl. Lu Chen brazenly protected the beauty and secretly helped to eliminate a lot of them. As a result, he was scolded by Fang Yun. Lu Chen was helpless. Chen Fei pursed her lips and smiled. After dinner, she wanted to help clean up the dishes, but Fang Yun firmly stopped her. Lu Shui pestered Chen Fei with countless questions. Chen Fei loved her very much. She also took out a gift for her. Lu Shui opened the beautifully wrapped box with surprise and found that there was a diamond-studded princess crown in it. It was very beautiful. She was so happy that she almost fainted. "Thank you, Sister Fei, Of course, Chen Fei didn't just bring one gift. She also gave Lu Shi a set of branded cosmetics and a mink coat for Fang Yun. Fang Yun complained, "I'm very happy that you can come. Why did you buy such expensive gifts?" She knew that the mink coat was at least tens of thousands of yuan. Chen Fei said obediently, "It's just a little token of my appreciation. It's not very expensive." The more Fang Yun looked at Chen Fei, the more she liked him. Not only was he handsome and beautiful, but he also had a good temperament. Moreover, he was a well-mannered lady. Fang Yun began to worry that her son was not worthy of Chen Fei. After thinking for a while, Fang Yun went back to her room upstairs. She quickly returned and pulled Chen Fei's hand. She put on a green jade bracelet for Chen Fei. Fang Yun said, "Fei, it's our first time meeting. I don't have anything good to give you. This bracelet was left to me by Grandma Lu Chen. Now I'm giving it to you. I hope you like it." Although this jade bracelet wasn't a top-notch item worth millions or even tens of millions, it was still an antique from the Qing dynasty. It was a family heirloom of the Lu clan that was passed down through the generations. It was meant for Lu Chen's wife. Therefore, when the Lu family was at its most difficult time, Fang Yun had never thought of selling the bracelet. She gave the jade bracelet to Chen Fei, which meant that she officially recognized the latter. How could Chen Fei not understand Fang Yun's intention? She blushed and said softly, "Thank you, Auntie." With her wealth, she could afford jade worth tens of millions, but she couldn't find anything more precious than the one in her hand. Seeing that Chen Fei accepted the jade bracelet, Fang Yun was even happier. She held Chen Fei's hand and began to inquire about Chen Fei's family. Chen Fei's hometown was Xia Island. When she was very young, her parents divorced and formed new families. Her mother emigrated to Canada early in her life. Her father was currently teaching at a university in the capital. She was raised by her grandmother. Her parents had 2 younger brothers and 2 younger sisters, but they didn't have much contact with each other. Fang Yun sighed. It was really not easy for Chen Fei to achieve what she had today with such a family situation. The two chatted as if they were the most intimate mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. As a result, Lu Chen, Lu Shui, and others were left aside. Chen Fei was a little worried when she came over. She didn't know whether Lu Chen's mother was easy to get along with. For Chinese people, the relationship between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law was always the most complicated. Now, it seems that her worries are completely superfluous. Fang Yun's character is strong, generous and gentle. Her love for her is completely from the heart. The two get along surprisingly well, and even have a kind of regret for not meeting each other earlier. Time flew, and it was almost 10:00 in the blink of an eye. Fang Yun reluctantly ended the conversation with Chen Fei and told Lu Shi, "Xiaoxi, tidy up the guest room upstairs." She then said to Chen Fei, "It's late. You can stay here and have an early rest." In fact, Chen Fei didn't intend to stay in the Lu family's house, but now that it had come to this, she couldn't refuse Fang Yun's kindness, so she shyly agreed. Chen Feier followed Lu Shi to the guest room, and Lu Shui naturally followed them. Lu Chen also wanted to follow, but Fang Yun stopped him. Fang Yun complained, "Why didn't you tell me earlier that your girlfriend was coming? I didn't even prepare." Lu Chen rubbed his nose and said with a wry smile, "I didn't know before." "Let's not talk about this," Fang Yun said. "Feier is really a good person. You should cherish her. The most important thing for two people to get along is tolerance and understanding. As a man, you should take more responsibility and not be as willful as before." Lu Chen nodded and said seriously, "I know." Fang Yun said, "When you were young, your grandmother told your fortune in the Baiyun Taoist temple. She said that you would be surrounded by love when you grew up. I don't believe in fortune telling, but now that you have a girlfriend and are developing in the entertainment industry, you will definitely come into contact with a lot of girls. Remember to control yourself. Don't let Feier down because of your love." Lu Chen scratched his head and said, "I know." Fang Yun rolled her eyes at him and said, "Don't make the girls who like you cry." Lu Chen was speechless. He felt that his mother was like a top NPC in the game, and then she gave him a legendary mission, which he had to complete. Fang Yun drove him away. "Go and rest early." But Lu Chen didn't feel sleepy at all. After sitting in his room for more than half an hour, he couldn't help but secretly run to the guest room. He knocked on the door gently. After a while, the door opened quietly, and the beautiful woman smiled sweetly. Obviously, she had expected it. Lu Chen's heart warmed up. He went into the room, held Chen Feier in his arms, and closed the door. Chen Feier had just taken a bath and was wearing a set of long-sleeved pajamas. The air conditioner in the room was warm, and she was so fragrant that Lu Chen had the urge to turn into a beast, and his eyes were red. He lowered his head and kissed her lips fiercely. Chen Feier let Lu Chen touch her gently, but when his big hand reached into her pajamas, she blushed and stopped him from going further into the forbidden area. In this regard, Chen Feier was very conservative. Lu Chen resisted the urge, let go of her reluctantly, and pulled her to sit on the bed. "This is a gift for you." Chen Feier took out a small silver box from under the pillow and handed it to Lu Chen. Lu Chen was surprised. "I have one too." He opened the box happily and found that Chen Feier gave him a silver metal pendant. It was unique in shape and well made, but it was definitely not a valuable item. Chen Feier explained, "This is a lucky charm. It is said that wearing it will bring you good luck." Lu Chen smiled. "My luck is already very good." He was telling the truth. He thanked fate for giving him an incredible miracle when he was at his lowest. He also thanked fate for letting him meet this beautiful woman in front of him and fall in love with her. Even so, he still wore the lucky charm on himself. Watching Lu Chen put on the charm, Chen Feier tilted his head and asked him, "Do you know what day it will be in a few days?" "A few days?" Lu Chen was stunned, but he quickly reacted. "Valentine's Day?" Chen Feier smiled. "Yes, I have an endorsement event that day, so I came to meet you in advance, so that's how it is." Lu Chen suddenly realized that today was February 10th, and it would be Valentine's Day in a few days. Chen Feier obviously had important work arrangements, so he specially came to Binhai to celebrate the festival with him in advance. This lucky charm is a Valentine's Day gift. Lu Chen was annoyed. "You didn't remind me. I haven't prepared a gift for you." Chen Feier smiled. "You can make it up to me when the time comes. It's not too late." Lu Chen's eyes turned, and he suddenly threw her on the bed. He leaned close to her jade-like ear and chuckled, "Why don't I give myself to you as a gift now? How about I devote myself to you?" Chen Feier's pretty face showed shyness again. Her eyes were full of charm. She was really beautiful. Lu Chen couldn't bear it. He hugged her and kissed her again. This time, Chen Feier was also very emotional. She finally released her upper body to Lu Chen, letting him enjoy the amazing warm and smooth feeling that couldn't be grasped with one hand. Unfortunately, even when she was at the most confused, she still held the bottom line and didn't let Lu Chen complete the final breakthrough. The two lingered for a long time. The next morning, Chen Feier, who was almost the daughter-in-law of the Liu family, said goodbye to Lu Chen and the Liu family and returned to the capital. On February 12, the 5th day of the first month of the lunar calendar, Lu Chen and Lu Shi also returned to the capital. When leaving, Lu Chen left his Mercedes-Benz to his mother, so that it would be convenient for her to go to and from work. Fang Yun didn't want it. She thought that the Mercedes-Benz SUV was too ostentatious. However, she couldn't resist the persuasion of Lu Chen and Lu Shi, so she reluctantly kept it. In fact, in Binhai, there were all kinds of luxury cars. Supercars were common on the street. A Mercedes-Benz SUV was nothing at all. The most important thing was that its safety factor was high enough to make them feel at ease. In the end, Lu Shi didn't forget to remind Lu Shui not to tell others about Chen Feier. The love between the two couldn't be exposed for the time being. Lu Shui finally became sensible for once. She swore to keep her mouth shut and never reveal the secret. Lu Chen was deeply doubtful about this. However, he couldn't care about other things for the time being. After returning to the capital, he was busy with work. It was a coincidence that Lu Chen also had an important endorsement event on Valentine's Day. Then, as soon as he returned to the capital, people from all walks of life came to his door. There were peers in the circle, entertainment agencies, record and film companies, and reporters from TV stations and newspapers and magazines. In addition, Lu Chen also received an invitation. 72H Grass Music Festival. If they liked someone, they would shout, clap, and shout. If they didn't like someone, they would just boo them off the stage. There were often famous singers or bands that were booed at the 72H live venue until they were in a sorry state and lost all face. Therefore, when people in the industry received this invitation, they would seriously consider it. Those who were strong were naturally not afraid, and they would gladly accept the challenge. But those who were not strong enough. Lu Shi asked, "Do you want to participate?" After she received this invitation, she specially went online to learn about the 72H Music Festival. She felt that the taste inside was not very right, because Lu Chen was obviously not the kind of singer that the 72H Grass Music Festival loved. One of the purposes of the 72H Grass Music Festival was to give opportunities to those powerful singers at the bottom and underground levels. Of course, they also welcomed companies like the Bionics. Lu Chen faintly smiled and said, "Why not?" He had heard of the Mystic Music Festival when he was in junior high, and he had been looking forward to it. Now that the other party had taken the initiative to invite him, he could fulfill his childhood dream. As for the problems that others were worried about, Lu Chen really didn't have to worry. Lu Shi wasn't very worried. Since Lu Chen wanted to go, she wouldn't dissuade him. "Okay, then I'll reply to them." The matter of participating in the 72H Grass Music Festival was settled. Lu Shi handed Lu Chen another piece of paper. On the thin A4 printing paper, the latest ratings data of Autumn in My Heart were listed. On February 5th and 6th, Hygiene Satellite TV continued to broadcast the 17th and 18th episodes of this popular drama, winning the terrifying ratings of 2.23% and 2.47% respectively, continuing the previous miracle. It should be known that these 2 days were the eve of New Year's Eve. Under normal circumstances, the ratings of TV dramas would generally decline. Not only was Autumn in My Heart not affected by the new year, but it rose against the market, which was really incredible. As for QQ Video, the total number of views of Autumn in My Heart has exceeded 2 billion, crushing all competitors. And the last 2 episodes of Autumn in My Heart, the finale, will be broadcast on the 13th and 14th. It coincided with Valentine's Day. Lu Chen wanted to laugh. Is this really okay? Lu Shi knew the ending of the story. She thought about it very seriously and smiled. You'll be scolded to death. Lu Chen said, maybe, but I think a lot of people will remember this Valentine's Day. A smile appeared on his face. It was more or less a little evil. By the way, Lu Shi said, Shanghai Publishing House, Group News Publishing House, and Beijing Publishing House have all contacted us, hoping to publish the novel version of Autumn in My Heart. The conditions given by the three are not bad. In addition, there is Color Impression Comic Book Society, which wants to get the comic adaptation rights of Autumn in My Heart, and the ratings of Autumn in My Heart have broken through the phenomenal level, and the number of audience fans has been increasing. A popular IP has quickly taken shape, and naturally, various units and institutions want to obtain the IP expansion copyright from Luchan Publishing House. Novels and comics are only a part of it, and they also represent huge profits. Luchan thought about it and said, these two copyrights are up to you. Whoever gives more will get it. We can put the novel together with the publishing house on the internet for crowdfunding, and produce a few more set versions. The novel version of Autumn in My Heart, serialized on his blog, ended after 2/3 of the content was published, leaving room for physical publishing in advance. The use of crowdfunding would undoubtedly improve sales results. Originally, Lu Shi estimated that Autumn in My Heart could bring Luchan Studio a profit of about 15 million yuan, but now it seemed that it was still a big underestimation. The market's enthusiasm for IP meant more benefits. Well, I got it. Lu Shi wrote it down and said, don't forget to prepare for the event on the 14th, on February 14th, that is, Valentine's Day. Lu Chen will attend the opening ceremony of Senki's flagship store in Beijing. He has signed a 1-year endorsement contract with this clothing brand, and he must attend such an important event. Senki Clothing will also launch their new couple sportswear on that day, and Lu Chen will be a model. As a singer, Lu Chen must sing live. Because of the special day, choosing a song is very important. Lu Chen said with a smile, I won't forget. He has already thought about what song to sing that day, but he needs to prepare in advance. Chapter 291. It was still early. Lu Chen took out his mobile phone, opened the address book, and called Wang Jing of Nirvana Studios. He was going to let the other party do the live accompaniment for the opening of Senki's flagship store in Beijing. Originally, Lu Chen had contracted these businesses to Flying Stone Records, but this time, he didn't have much work. In addition, Wang Jing borrowed money from him last time. It should be that Nirvana Studios had a problem with its operation, so he would help if he could. After all, the two sides used to cooperate very happily. As a result, the phone rang a dozen times, but no one answered, and then it went to voicemail. Lu Chen didn't care and called Wang Changxing again. The other party turned off his phone. This time, Lu Chen was a little puzzled. Although it was only the 6th day of the first lunar month, it was impossible for Nirvana Studios not to have opened yet. It should be known that the first lunar month was often the best time for music production units. He thought about it and simply went straight to Nirvana Studios. It was in the same park, and it was only a 10-minute walk from here to there. When he arrived at the floor where Nirvana was located, as soon as the elevator door opened, Lu Chen saw a scene of chaos. The door of the studio was open, and various tables, chairs, benches, and cardboard boxes were piled up in the doorway. Inside, people in blue work uniforms were busy, as if they were moving. Wang Jing, Wang Hui, and the 3 members of the Nirvana band were standing in the corner of the door. They were either holding instruments or big boxes in their hands, and all of them looked lost. Seeing such a scene, Lu Chen couldn't help but be surprised. He hurriedly walked over and asked, Wang Jing, Wang Hui, what happened to your studio? Are you going to move? Brother Lu Chen, Wang Hui squeezed out an ugly smile and said, our studio is over. Over? Lu Chen was stunned. He knew that Nirvana Studios' business had not been very good, but it was barely able to keep going. Moreover, this studio was the culmination of Wang Changxing's family's efforts. How could it end just like that? Wang Jing's face was pale. She twisted her hands and said in a low voice, Lu Chen, I owe you money, let's not talk about this. Lu Chen interrupted her, tell me what's going on. When he was working on the album, You Who Sat Next to Me, he worked at Nirvana Studios for a long time and had a good relationship with Wang Jing and Wang Hui. Later, He ended the cooperation because he needed to improve the quality of his work. The equipment and foundation of Nirvana Studios were still lacking. However, during that collaboration, Lu Chen learned a lot from Wang Jing and got along well with his peers. They were young, enthusiastic, full of drive and enthusiasm, full of expectations for the future. So now that he heard that Nirvana Studios was over, Lu Chen also felt uncomfortable and uneasy and wanted to ask what was going on. Wang Hui glanced at his sister timidly and then explained the reason to Lu Chen. It turned out that a month ago, Wang Changxing received a big contract, the kind that was quite profitable. If done well, the studio could last for a year, but the initial investment was relatively large. In order to get this contract, he raised money everywhere without discussing it with Wang Hui and Wang Jing. He even mortgaged his studio's equipment to raise 700,000 yuan to invest in the project. As a result, he never expected that the other party turned out to be a group of swindlers who set a trap for Wang Changxing. All the investments were naturally wasted, and the creditors came to the door again. Suffering such a heavy blow, Wang Changxing fell ill directly and was still in the hospital. And Nirvana Studios naturally could not be kept. It was not enough to pay off all the assets to others. Such a thing actually happened. Lu Chen didn't know what to say. The business world was like a battlefield. A little carelessness could lead to total annihilation. After all, Wang Changxing was not experienced enough to be cheated, but these swindlers were really hateful. He asked, "Have you called the police?" Wang Hui nodded and said, "Yes, we are not the only studio that was cheated. The police have filed a case, but the people have long run away. The money in the bank account has been transferred, and it is difficult to recover the loss." He looked sad. "The money can be transferred again, but my father," Lu Chen reached out and patted him on the shoulder to comfort him. "You are here, is there anyone taking care of Uncle Wang?" Wang Hui said, "My mother is with him. He is fine, but he is mainly worried." At this time, Wang Jing interrupted and said, "Lu Chen, I will find a way to pay you back the money I owe you as soon as possible." Her expression was very determined, the kind that would not be happy until she got it back. Wang Hui's face turned red. "Sister, let's pay it back together." Lu Chen thought about it and said, "If you want to pay me back as soon as possible, I have a way." Wang Jing opened her eyes wide. "What way?" Lu Chen smiled and said, "Come to my studio. I will give you a base salary of 10,000 yuan plus performance rewards. It will be paid back soon." Wang Jing graduated from the composition department of Beijing Conservatory of Music and has some work experience. All the arrangements of the album, You Who Sat Next to Me, were basically done by her. Her talent and strength are quite excellent. Lu Chen always felt that she was buried in Nirvana Studios. In the past, Lu Chen had no idea of poaching at all, but now Nirvana Studios is a thing of the past. "Ah," Wang Jing whispered. She didn't expect Lu Chen to invite her to work in his studio. Lu Chen turned his head and said to Wang Hui, "How about you and the Nirvana band come and help me? The treatment will be good, and I can build you another recording studio, a real professional recording studio." He has long had the idea of forming his own band and building a recording studio. Although outsourcing saves money and trouble, after all, he can't complete his own music ideas that will on other people's territory. In fact, it's a matter of money. It costs at least millions to build a professional recording studio, which ordinary small companies can't afford. But for the current Lu Chen, it's really not a problem. His proposal now is tantamount to merging all the people of Nirvana Studios. Wang Hui was overjoyed. "Lu Chen, do you really want to invite us?" Lu Chen said with a smile, "Of course it's true, and to build a recording studio, I will give you a 5 million equipment budget." Wang Hui's saliva came down. 5 million equipment budget. He is a typical technical geek and has an obsession with audio-electronic equipment that others can't understand. The 5 million equipment budget is enough for him to build a studio of his dreams. It should be known that the equipment budget does not include the cost of the studio decoration, which is also an amazing expense. Lu Chen asked the other 3 members of the Nirvana band, "What do you think?" The three looked at each other and then looked at Wang Jing. Wang Jing bit her lip and didn't speak. She knows very well that for Nirvana Studios and the Nirvana band, joining Lu Chen's studio is the best result. Everyone doesn't have to disband and look for a new job, and they don't have to worry about maintaining their lives. If Lu Chen was just a small role in the entertainment circle half a year ago, then he has gradually grown into a towering tree and is someone who can really be relied on. Lu Chen said that he will give Wang Hui a 5 million equipment budget, which is certainly not a discount. He has such strength. The eyes of the three members of the Nirvana band are all willing, but they respect Wang Jing's wishes. After a moment of silence, Wang Jing sighed secretly in her heart and nodded with a smile. Hooray! Wang Hui was the first to shout. The haze on the faces of the Nirvana band members was swept away and they were all very excited. If possible, they don't want to be separated. Now the way out is really great. Lu Chen said, I should have gone to see Uncle Wang, but now I have a work that needs to be arranged. It will be performed live tomorrow night, accompanied by a live band. Can you help me? He stared at Wang Jing, who nodded again. Wang Hui has an opinion, Brother Lu Chen, but most of our instruments are also locked. Several members of the Nirvana band smiled bitterly. They could only bring out 2 guitars and a bass. They were all personal equipment that they had bought before. The Nirvana band has a total of 4 members, lead singer/guitarist Wang Jing, bassist Ouyang He, keyboardist Wen Yuan and drummer Yang Xiaoyi. They are all around 23 or 24 years old, which is a very young team. But the professional level of this band is good, and they have done a very good job of accompanying Lu Chen's works before. Otherwise, Lu Chen would not have invited them to join him with great sincerity. In fact, it is a matter of course for a singer-songwriter like him to form a band, and a live band and an accompaniment are 2 completely different things, giving the audience a completely different feeling. With Lu Chen's current status and fame in the circle, it is not a problem to recruit a stronger lineup than the Nirvana band, but stronger is not necessarily better. And the Nirvana band is young enough and has unlimited growth potential. He smiled and said, it's simple. We'll go buy it now and buy whatever we lack. Now no one has anything to say. With limited time, Lu Chen acted quickly. He asked Wang Hui to report to his studio first, and then drove the Nirvana band to buy musical instruments and equipment. Choose what you need. With Lu Chen's backing, it didn't take too much time to buy musical instruments. Including Wang Jing, the members of the Nirvana band picked out their favorite equipment. Lu Chen also asked his sister to rent a temporary business car to facilitate the moving of musical instruments and personnel. That night, he and Wang Jing completed the arrangement of the new work together. Time is too tight to do it very carefully, but there is no problem in dealing with tomorrow's endorsement event. February 14th, Valentine's Day, the members of the reformed and renamed new Nirvana band, no one cared about this romantic holiday. Everyone began to rehearse Lu Chen's new song. New team, new members, new works and new instruments, but the first cooperation went surprisingly smoothly. At 3 p.m., the Nirvana band set off for the scene. Chapter 292. Lovers are happiest. Happy Valentine's Day. Among the festivals spread from abroad to China, Christmas and Valentine's Day are undoubtedly the most accepted by young people. Of course, this is due to the vigorous advocacy of businesses. After their long-term and unremitting efforts, Valentine's Day has been rendered into a romantic day, and they have happily harvested the money in the wallets of men and women. Therefore, shopping malls and entertainment venues in the city are particularly rich in activities on Valentine's Day. Many brands use this special day to promote and market. Senki's flagship store in Beijing was chosen to open on February 14th. This newly rising clothing brand is ambitious and very willing to invest in advertising. Some time ago, they signed an endorsement contract with Lu Chen with a value of up to 1 million yuan. This time, the opening of the flagship store naturally includes Lu Chen. The address of Senki's flagship store is located on the east side of People's Square, which is a prime location within the second ring road of Beijing. Because Valentine's Day coincided with Sunday, and many companies and units had not yet opened for business, there were a lot of people in People's Square. Most of them were couples, and from time to time, little girls selling roses shuttled among them. It was a bustling and noisy scene. On the huge LED screen on the east side of the square, Senki's Valentine's Day advertisement has been displayed, as well as a performance notice. The stage of the opening ceremony was set up near the advertising screen, only a few dozen steps away from Senki's flagship store with a rainbow arch. Many staff members have been busy setting up speakers, curtains, flower baskets, and so on. Although there were still a few hours before the official start of the opening ceremony, many audiences have appeared around the stage, asking the staff about something. They are basically Lu Chen's fans. Senki's publicity offensive has been launched early. The LED screen in the square has the name of the male lead of Autumn in My Heart, and it has also crowned Lu Chen with the title of Prince of Music. His stills in the TV series can be seen clearly from a long distance. Taking advantage of the popularity of Autumn in My Heart, Senki, who has been endorsed by Lu Chen, has earned a wave of popularity. This time, the opening of the flagship store has been publicized with this golden signboard. Of course, they also have to pay Lu Chen additional advertising fees. But his peers in the industry were already envious to death. He got Lu Chen's endorsement for a year with a mere $1 million. For Senki, it was a huge profit. Now, Lu Chen's net worth from endorsements was at least $4 or $5 million. If an artist really became popular, the fees for endorsements would skyrocket. Wang Jing stood on the stage, helping her partner put the drums, keyboards, and other new equipment in place. There was still a surreal feeling in her heart. Before the new year, when Wang Jing heard from her father, who seemed to have aged more than 10 years, that she had been cheated, she felt as if she had been struck by lightning. The pain in her heart was really indescribable. She couldn't blame her father for worrying about the studio. She could only resent the shamelessness of the liar. As a result, when it rains, it pours. Extreme guilt and sadness crushed Wang Changsheng, causing him to fall ill. Nirvana Studios was completely over, and the family didn't even have the money to treat Wang Changsheng's illness. In desperation, Wang Jing asked Lu Chen for help. After the new year, creditors came to the door. Nirvana Studios was powerless to recover, and the Nirvana band faced the situation of disbandment. No matter how reluctant Wang Jing was, she couldn't change this fact. However, Lu Chen appeared. Yesterday morning, she, her brother, and her friends were like stray dogs. Today, they appeared on the stage and will perform for countless audiences. They no longer need to worry about their future and fate. Next month, they will also participate in the 72H Music Festival. It was like Nirvana rebirth. Nirvana was changed to Nirvana. The meaning and pronunciation have not changed, but it is a new beginning. Wang Jing took a deep breath and secretly told herself to work hard. She can't let down Lu Chen's trust and help. At the same time, she also hid the thoughts buried deep in her heart in a deeper corner, letting time wear them away. "Sister, come here and help me take a look." Wang Hui's call woke Wang Jing up, and she immediately walked in the direction of her brother. Her footsteps were light. The pace of time was equally light, and in the blink of an eye, it was sunset and dusk. The sky gradually darkened, and the street lamps arranged in the People's Square and the lights on the stage were lit up. More and more people appeared in the square. They were attracted by the scene here and slowly gathered around. In the middle of the crowd, there were many young men and women holding fluorescent signs. The signs showed the words, Lu Chen, Chen Chen, and so on. The red and green signs were particularly eye-catching. Autumn in My Heart has gathered a lot of popularity for Lu Chen. His current number of fans on Wave's blog has exceeded 15 million. The opening event of Senki flagship store tonight was announced in advance on the blog, so it attracted many real fans to cheer. The security personnel at the scene isolated them outside the safety line in time. Since the Hangzhou incident, now there are celebrity endorsements, and the security forces have been strengthened a lot. At this moment, Lu Chen was in the lobby of the Senki flagship store, which had not yet opened, holding his mobile phone and interacting with Chen Fei through QQ. It's Valentine's Day, but the two lovers can't spend this sweet festival together. It's a pity, but it's completely normal in the entertainment industry. Many star artists often don't fall in love in their career, not only because they are afraid of affecting their popularity, but also because their emotional life and work are too easy to conflict, and not many partners can last long. Chen Fei also has a very important endorsement event today, and her place is only 2 streets away from the People's Square. After a few words, Lu Chen told Chen Fei about his recruitment to form the Nirvana band. There's also the preparation of a recording studio. Chen Fei was very happy and said that she wouldn't have to go to others to record songs in the future, and that she could complete all the work here at Lu Chen's place. She said, "If you want to do it well. I'll join in." Lu Chen smiled and said, "Okay, I'll be the boss, and you'll be the lady boss." Chen Fei returned a smile and a sweet kiss. She said, "I'm so bored here. I really want to go and see you at the scene." Lu Chen looked at it and asked tentatively, "Why don't we meet again after it's over?" Chen Fei returned a helpless expression, "Believe it or not, there will be a bunch of paparazzi following me." Lu Chen thought about that picture and was really a little drunk. "Okay." Chen Fei gave another sweet kiss, "I'll make it up to you later." The two were intimate for more than half an hour, and the opening ceremony of Senki flagship store finally began. Chapter 293. People's Square was located in a superior location, surrounded by bustling commercial areas. Usually, except for the bad weather of wind and rain, there were many citizens who came for a walk at night. Today was Valentine's Day, and the couples in the streets and alleys were dazzling. People's Square naturally became a good place for lovers. After a warm and romantic dinner, they would go out for a walk, which made the people gathering here more and more vigorous. The opening ceremony of Senki's flagship store naturally attracted the attention of a large number of passers-by. In particular, the video content in the nearby large LED billboard made many young men and women excited, and they gathered around to watch the fun. The national average ratings of Autumn in My Heart of more than 2% made this TV series a phenomenal existence with countless fans. Knowing that the hero was about to appear here, even non-fans wanted to watch the fun. The time advanced to 6:30, and the opening ceremony officially began. As usual, the host went on stage first and said a lot of words, and then quickly entered the model show segment. Handsome men and beautiful women in couples' clothes walked on the stage, showing the new spring clothes of Senki brand. The crowd of onlookers was getting denser and denser. Many fans held up fluorescent signs and shouted the name of Lu Chen. They didn't come to see the opening of the flagship store, nor did they like the model show. They came for Lu Chen. The most important thing was that there was the finale of Autumn in My Heart tonight. Even if the broadcast time was wisely delayed by Hygiene Satellite TV to 9:30, everyone hoped that after watching Lu Chen live, they could go home early to watch the live broadcast on TV or on the internet. The cheers were getting stronger and stronger, and the host, who came on stage again after the show, couldn't resist it. Seeing that the situation was getting out of control, the host on the scene had a quick wit. He laughed and said loudly, "It seems that everyone likes Mr. Lu Chen, the spokesperson of our Senki, very much. Well, let's count down together to welcome him to perform for us on the stage. What do you think?" "Okay." Screams rose and fell one after another, and many female fans jumped up and shouted excitedly. The host said, "Then I'll start counting down, 10, 9, 8. There was no such segment in the original arrangement of the ceremony. Lu Chen would only appear in half an hour, but no one could say that there was anything wrong with the host's decision. Instead, they had to praise him for his quick-wittedness. The organizers still underestimated Lu Chen's popularity and influence. The crowd gathered around the stage was so dense that there was no end in sight. Hundreds of waving fluorescent signs were enough to show the number of his fans. Lu Chen's studio had never hired professional fans. These fans were the real hardcore fans. If they delayed any longer and caused chaos, the organizers would have to bear the consequences. Now that the countdown began, the fans immediately calmed down. They followed the host and shouted, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The spotlight instantly shone on the stairs leading to the stage, and Lu Chen walked up with a smile on his face. He was at the back of the temporary stage, and he was just making an early appearance. As soon as he appeared, the fans at the scene immediately shouted and screamed excitedly, "Lu Chen, I love you." There was also someone who called Juanxi, which was a blue fan. Lu Chen wore a set of custom-made casual clothes and sneakers from Senki today. He looked not only handsome but also full of vitality while holding a guitar. Coupled with a hearty smile and a free and easy pace, he instantly fascinated a large number of female fans. It's so handsome. Big Lu Chen has always been so handsome, but today he is especially handsome. On Valentine's Day, Big Lu Chen is also single. Single is glorious, long live single. I really want to go to the scene, but the capital is too far away. I'm at the scene. There are too many people in the People's Square. I don't know what song Lu Chen will sing tonight. Lu Chen's endorsement event at the opening ceremony of Senki's flagship store was also broadcast live on Whale TV. He has long been the #1 anchor in this live broadcasting platform. Although the time of the live broadcast was big, and most of them were not live anchors, his popularity has always been maintained in a very high position. On the evening of Valentine's Day, the number of online users in Lu Chen's live broadcast room exceeded 2 million. Even if it was announced in advance, people still have to sigh at the strength of the single dog group. Li Feiyu was still in charge of the live broadcast, but the equipment for the live broadcast had long been upgraded. It was equipped with a professional recording system, coupled with the high-speed 4G plus network, so that the fans sitting in front of the computer could see the clearest picture. They saw Lu Chen standing in front of the microphone and said with a smile, "Good evening, everyone, I'm Lu Chen." After that, he bowed deeply to the audience. The screams at the scene instantly rose a lot, almost breaking through the sky. Straightening up, Lu Chen continued, "Today is a very special day. Seeing all of you loving each other, I really feel that I have suffered a ton of damage. You are so cruel." He deliberately showed an exaggerated sad expression. The same picture was not only transmitted to the network space in real time, but also synchronized on the giant LED screen in People's Square, so that thousands of people present could see Lu Chen and hear his voice. For the opening ceremony of this flagship store, Senki spent a lot of money, and the effect on the scene was really good. Laughter and applause sounded at the same time. Although they knew that Lu Chen was joking, the couples present still had a feeling of schadenfreude. A big star is also a single dog. Lu Chen said with a smile, "Originally, I wanted to sing a single love song for all single people, including myself, but I didn't expect there to be so many couples present, so the minority obeys the majority. The first song is a new song, which I wrote especially for you." The sound of applause exploded in an instant. Who knew Lu Chen and didn't know his talent in music creation? Being able to hear his new work was undoubtedly the biggest surprise tonight, and the fans were really happy. Especially recently, Lu Chen has been busy shooting TV series and has not produced any works. Lu Chen leaned over and said, "In addition, would also like to recommend a band to you here. Its name is Nirvana, the Nirvana of Phoenix Nirvana, and it is also my personal live band. First of all, I would like to introduce the guitarist of the Nirvana band, Wang Jing. The Nirvana band has been on the stage for a long time. The accompaniment music for the previous model show was played by them. Everyone did not expect that this team was actually Lu Chen's personal band, and they all applauded warmly. Wang Jing, whose name was called, quickly got up and bowed to the audience to thank them, and the camera's lens swept over. Wow! Beautiful guitarist. Wang Jing. This name feels familiar. Yes, I also have an impression. Let me tell you, Wang Jing is the arranger of the album, You Who Sat Next to Me. I remember it very clearly. Handsome. Big Lu Chen finally has a band. Reward and support. Oh, it's a pity that I didn't go to the scene. Compared with the scene in the People's Square, the atmosphere in the live broadcast room is really much more lively and noisy. The quality of a live band is much higher than that of an accompaniment. Having a personal band is also a symbol of a singer's strength and status. Originally, many people were worried that Lu Chen would not focus on movies and TV series in the future, but now this worry has disappeared. Forming a band will certainly not give up music. For a time, the fish balls in the live broadcast room were like rain, and aircraft carriers passed by one after another. Bass player Ouyang He. Keyboardist Wen Yuan. Drummer Yang Xiaoyi. Lu Chen introduced the members of the Nirvana band to everyone one by one. This is the first appearance of the new Nirvana band in the public, and of course, it will not be the last. If there is no accident, this band will accompany his music career. Being cheered by thousands of people, Ouyang He and others showed an excited look. After introducing the Nirvana band, Lu Chen put down his guitar and said, "Now I'll give you a few numbers. Would you please help me shout them out?" "Thank you." He opened his hands and 10 fingers forward, only his left thumb bent against the palm of his hand. "How many is this?" Many of the audience didn't respond and were stunned, but some fans immediately shouted, 9. Lu Chen smiled, his left hand remained motionless, and he retracted his right hand. At this time, everyone shouted in unison, 4. Then Lu Chen retracted his left hand, raised his right hand again, and stretched out his index and middle fingers. 2. The next moment, he retracted his middle finger, raised his right hand high, and pointed his index finger to the sky. 1. Lu Chen nodded and said, "Yes, now please read these 4 numbers together." 9421. The smart people reacted instantly, "I love you." Everyone came to a sudden realization and shouted, "Yes, I love you." Lu Chen said with a smile, "The name of the following new song is, I Love You. I hope you like it." As soon as his voice fell, the Nirvana band played the prelude. All the applause, laughter, cheers, and shouts quickly subsided, and everyone stared intently at Lu Chen standing on the stage, listening to his new song. Only the fluorescent card was still swaying, drawing a residual light in the crowd. "I've always wanted to say to you that you give me unexpected happiness, like an oasis to a desert. Say that you will accompany me forever, be my root, my wings, let me fly and have a nest to go back to. I'm willing, I can give everything, and I won't regret it. Just be together, watch the passage of time, remember the way we love each other. I love you, there's sadness and happiness. With you, there's meaning. I love you, sweet and reassuring, that feeling is you." Note, I love you, lyrics, doll/composer, Tao Zhe. Chapter 294. Lu Chen's previous works are mostly folk songs and light rock songs, focusing on nostalgia and hot blood. But he will not finalize his style. This year, he will develop towards a wider range of genres. The first choice, Just Love You, which was launched on Valentine's Day, is a typical love song. In pop music, love songs have the largest audience and are one of the most popular types. Over the past few decades, countless classics have been born at home and abroad, and there has never been a decline. Because love is one of the most beautiful emotions of human beings. This song, Just Loving You, has a beautiful melody, the lyrics are catchy, and there are not too many complicated ways of expression. Lu Chen sings it slowly, soothing and affectionate like a lover's whisper, making people who listen to it feel sweet in their hearts. "I have always wanted to say to you, you give me unexpected happiness, like an oasis to a desert. Say, you will always be with me, be my root, my wings, let me fly, and have a nest to go back to. I am willing, really willing, to give everything, to protect you. Oh, together, time continues to pass. Please remember how much I love you. Oh, love you, never abandon you. Don't care how much wind and rain there are along the way. Just love you, put it in your palm. Give you all the brilliant happiness. Oh, love you, I am willing, just love you, want us to be together." At this moment, the couples in the People's Square looked and listened, all smiling. They snuggled up to each other, feeling each other's temperature in this cold night, and reminiscing the bits and pieces of love in Lu Chen's singing. Time passes, time is ruthless, or one day in the future, feelings will be worn away by time, and lovers will go their separate ways, but I believe that no one will forget the beauty and touching they have experienced in such a night in the crowded crowd. Just love you, want us to be together. This is the best blessing for Valentine's Day. When Lucien finished singing Just Love You affectionately, the whole audience applauded, especially the couples clapped desperately. Lucien put down his guitar and bowed with the Nirvana band to thank them. Thank you, everyone. May all the lovers in the world get married. The applause became even louder. Suddenly, there was a small commotion below the stage. Soon, a little girl in a white gauze dress walked up to Lucien with a bouquet of roses in her hand. The little girl was at most 5 or 6 years old. She was as cute as a doll. She tried her best to stand on her tiptoes to present flowers to Lucien. Lucien was pleasantly surprised. He quickly squatted down and took the flowers. Thank you. May I know your name? He remembered that the ceremony in the evening did not have a flower delivery segment, so it should be an accident. The little girl said in a childish voice, My name is Yaya. Brother Lucien, Happy Valentine's Day. Lucien sighed and said, Brother Lucien doesn't have a lover yet. What should I do? The little girl frowned and thought for a while, then said happily, Then I'll give Yaya's sister to you. She's very greedy and always steals my things. The audience roared with laughter. The little girl was too cute. Lucien smiled and reached out to hug the little girl, then took her off the stage. Of course, the little girl had a family, and it was a big family. She had several sisters. Back in front of the microphone, Lucien said with a smile, Thank you, Yaya. Thank you for the flowers, and my sister. Everyone couldn't help laughing again. Lucien continued, For the second song, I want to invite an audience member to the stage and let her sing with me. I think you should be familiar with this song. It is, Your Eyes. Without waiting for Lucien to say the name of the song, the fans under the stage helped him make up for it. Your Eyes was the theme song of Autumn in My Heart. It was a love song sung by Lucien and Chinfei. With the rising ratings of Autumn in My Heart, the song had become a well-known pop song and had become a must-listen for many couples when they went to KTV. Lucien nodded and said, Yes, it's Your Eyes. Who would like to sing with me on the stage? As soon as his voice fell, the audience below the stage raised their arms in unison. Many girls even jumped up and shouted excitedly, Me. Lucien smiled and said, So many people want to sing? Then I'll choose one. I'll choose you. He pointed to the audience below the stage and said, It's the audience member in the red down jacket. Thank you. The girl who was pointed out by Lucien had a look of surprise on her face. The other fans around her cast envious eyes on her, and at the same time, made way for her. Hello, what's your name? Lucien asked the girl who had just come on the stage in a friendly manner. She was about 20 years old and had a delicate appearance. The girl blushed and said, My name is Lin Yu. I'm your fan. In the evening, she went out to play with her classmates. When she passed by the People's Square and saw the advertisement screen, she knew that Lucien was going to perform here, so she stayed to watch the live show. She didn't expect to be chosen by Lucien to sing a love song on the stage. It's just like a dream. Lucien said with a smile, Then let's sing Your Eyes together. The music sounded again. Your Eyes is a work that everyone is familiar with. The difficulty of singing this song is not low, but the performance of the girl named Lin Yu is quite excellent. Apart from being a little flustered at the beginning and not being able to keep up with the rhythm, her singing later is remarkable, and she cooperates quite well with Lucien. There are too many tears that don't stop. I love you every step of the hardships of love. The dreams of suffering are especially sincere. After a love song was sung, the audience still responded with warm applause. Thank you, Lin Yu. Lucien sent the female fan off the stage, and the staff gave her a beautiful gift. After singing 2 songs, Lucien's performance time was over. In the evening, It was the opening ceremony of Senki's flagship store, not his personal music live. There were still many programs behind. So he and Nirvana said goodbye to everyone. At this time, the fans at the scene did not agree. No one knew who started it, but everyone shouted together, "Sing one more song." Again. Their shouts quickly formed a huge sound wave, surging in the people's square, washing away the coldness of the winter night and making people's blood surge. Lu Chen stood on the stage with his guitar in his arms, full of emotion and warmth. Although there was no lover to accompany him, Valentine's Day 2016 is worth commemorating for him. Because so many people like him and need him. You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.